Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel 1971 War Book series after a very long time. Actually the channel was literally not operable for more than a month. I would say more than a month because there were some technical problems which I had to deal with, including some problems where I shoot all these videos. So after dealing with all of them, I am back, and again like previous days, videos would be there almost regularly in an interval of 2 to 3 days or 4 days at max. Today we are going to talk to Major Chandrakant Singh Veer Chakra, who served as company commander in the 4 Guards, and you might have remembered from our series of videos from Paunchy's war. Major Chandrakant Singh is known as Paunchy, where he spoke about his battalion's experiences and his own experiences in the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War, how his battalion had taken part in the Mukti Bahini operations, then in the consecutive operations inside Bangladesh, taking part in the liberation of Akhaura, Brahmanbaria, Ashuganj, then taking part in the Meghna Helibridge operation, getting to Bhairab Bazaar. Now, in this part of our video, we will be talking about the move of the 4 Guards from Bhairab Bazaar to Dhaka and Major Chandrakant Singh's experiences in combat, where he had not only seen death but also where he was wounded in battle. So let's welcome Major Chandrakant Singh Veer Chakra to our program today in this series of videos of Paunchy's war.
Landing at Bhairab Bazaar. We are going to proceed after that.
The most interesting thing is that the heli-borne crossing on the 9th of December evening, in the morning of that day, Rao Farman Ali, who was the chief of staff to Niazi,
Okay.
sent a signal to Yahya Khan. This is on the 9th morning,
Okay.
anticipating what would be the result in case we crossed it.
Okay.
He writes, once the enemy has crossed the Ganga or the Meghna, further resistance will be futile unless China or the United States intervenes, together with massive air and ground support.
Okay.
Once again, I urge you to consider immediate ceasefire and political settlement. Otherwise, once Indian troops are free from the East Wing in a few days, even the West Wing will be in jeopardy. So it is not that the Pakistani High Command was unaware that if we cross the Meghna, they'd lost the battle for East Bengal, and even West Pakistan would be in jeopardy.
Right.
We crossed over on the night of the 9th by helicopters the Meghna River, just south of the Bhairab Bazaar. On the 10th morning, Gavin Young, who was the newspaper correspondent for the London Observer, and he was embedded with Niazi's headquarters,
Okay.
wrote a dispatch for the London Observer and the New York Times. This dispatch was written a little later. But on the 10th morning, he reports that the Pakistani generals were ready to throw in the towel and surrender. That one single crossing of the Meghna River by one battalion only,
The 4 Guards.
4 Guards, my battalion, hammered the last nail into the Pakistani coffin. and that is acknowledged, as I read out earlier, by the Pakistanis and reported by Gavin Young. This report was published both in the London Observer and in the New York Times. Now, that is the import of this thing. Secondly, I'm going to repeat that the crossing of the Meghna River was not planned, not ordered.
Okay.
In fact, the orders to Sagat Singh by General Akhaura was, and that's on record, that he will not cross the Meghna River.
They are to remain on this side only.
Yes,
East bank.
yes.
Ashuganj.
And the interesting thing is, although we were using the helicopters of the Air Force to cross it, Air Marshal, this is on the 9th, Air Chief Marshal Lal, who was the chief of the air staff, has said it in his own autobiography that he came to know of the crossing only on the 13th of December, that is 4 days after we had crossed over. Even the Air Force Higher Command was ignorant of this. And this is on record.
So, sir, the Air Force Higher Command was also involved in many
Ignorant.
clandestine operations before the war officially started, but this was not a
Well,
this was something.
no, even the clandestine operations, I'm afraid. Now, this is something very important, is relevant today. There's a policy of the government to integrate the command of the three armed forces, Army, Navy, and Air Force. The Air Force is resisting it.
The Air Force is
Resisting it.
resisting it. Okay, okay.
General Jacob, in his biography, which I have written, and which I am also a witness to, sometime in the month of July 1971, we had made a request that at some stage we will have to go into Bangladesh, that time East Pakistan, that we didn't have up-to-date maps, so we would require aerial photographs
Okay, okay.
of the Pakistani positions and the terrain. That request was sent to us by us to our headquarters, eventually landed up on the desk of General Jacob, and he made a request to the Air Force. They said, yes, we will do it, but no photographs of the enemy positions in East Pakistan were made available, and we had to fight the war from outdated pre-Second World War maps. Number two, this is something on which I feel very strongly about the necessity for integration of the three services. When we've already discussed the Battle of Akhaura, when the operational orders were given to us for the attack on Akhaura, we were promised 44 fighter bomber sorties against the Pakistani positions at Akhaura. That is there in black and white in the orders that were given to us.
Okay.
Not one sortie turned up because there was lack of cooperation and lack of single command. The Air Force Air Officer Commanding in Chief Dewan was based in Shillong, was doing something on his own. Aurora and Calcutta was doing his own plans. Their coordination was, I would say, it was non-existent.
One question, sir. There
Yes.
was no ground liaison officer also with your battalion.
Yes, there was a ground liaison officer,
Okay.
but his job, and his name was Shahid, very fine officer, pilot officer Shahid. His job was that in case our aircraft came over in our support, he would guide them into the target.
Okay.
He was embedded with my battalion and my company, and on two occasions, one occasion is on the 5th of December when we were at Akhaura. He guided a flight of two MiG-21s against the Pakistani positions. They just fired a few rockets. They didn't have the weapons to destroy them, but okay, it's still a deterrent. And the second was on the 8th of December
Acha.
uh, at Ashuganj, which is on the east bank of Meghna River. On the west bank is Bhairab Bazaar. There was a Pakistani artillery observation post officer located in a grain silo.
Okay.
It was a high, about 70, 80 feet high building, or maybe more even. I think it was about 150 feet high silo. He was located there and he was directing very accurate fire on our positions.
Acha.
Our own artillery had not come up, and Shahid called in a strike to, if I remember correctly, it was not MiGs. In the first time, it was MiG-21s that came in. This time, 2 NAT fighters came in and rocketed that position. Whether they hit him or not, we don't know. But thereafter, I think he vacated the post and ran away, went away. Lack of, this is okay. Third time, again, which highlighted the lack of
Yes.
cooperation between us, was on the 13th of December, when we were advancing from Narsingdi towards Demra on the outskirts of Dhaka. Major Marwa, officer commanding Charlie Company, 4 guards, his company was strafed by our own Canberra bombers of the Indian Air Force.
Friendly fire.
Friendly fire, they were strafed.
Okay.
Tafi Marwa lost the heel of his boot in that fire. No damage done. Tafi Marwa threatened to shoot Shahid, who was the ground liaison officer, if he did not stop our own planes from attacking us. Shahid got onto the pilot of the bomber, and the bomber pilot tells him, nothing doing. There are no Indian troops so far ahead. There are only Pakistani troops that are moving towards Dhaka. Now, this is a sad state of affairs in all armed forces in the world, modern states. They have joint planning, joint operational control. We still are trying to get it. When General Rawat was the chief of the army staff and appointed chief of the defense staff, he tried to push it through, but he was met with a lot of resistance.
Okay.
Okay, now we come to the actual battle. Our landing was completed across the Meghna, the heliborne landing, was completed by the 10th morning.
Okay.
My company had gone in first, and we started off at 4:30. By 6:30, my entire company was there. By then, it had got dark. And next to where we landed in a small village called Raipura.
Raipura.
Just about 3-4 kilometers from there is the railway station called Methi-Khanda.
Methi-Khanda. Acha, acha.
It is on the railway line from Bhairab Bazaar to Tungi. Tungi is 35 kilometers north of
Dhaka.
Dhaka. There was no direct train. This place, Methi-Khanda, is on that railway line, where that village is.
Okay.
We occupied that village. For a short while, there was an element of Mukti Bahani there.
Acha, acha.
I think there was a bit of misunderstanding. I was there, I faced it. The Mukti Bahani thought that we were Pakistanis, and we thought they were Pakistani agents.
Acha, acha, acha.
They were actually, because they spoke in Urdu fluently. It turned out they were Mukti Bahani who had deserted the Pakistan Navy.
Navy. Acha, acha.
They were naval persons who were fighting there.
Mm-hmm.
A few of them who had deserted the Pakistan, so they could speak Urdu fluently.
Mm-hmm.
So this created a bit of a thing. Thank God, it nearly went down to a firefight,
Okay.
and we were face to face talking to each other.
Acha, 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 acha. Sir, by this time, the General Majid, Qazi Abdul Majid has surrendered, I guess.
No, no, no.
Okay.
This is not 10th. Qazi Abdul Majid surrendered sometime around the 17th or 18th.
Okay.
But he was surrounded.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Qazi Abdul Majid had 6,500 troops at Bhairab Bazaar.
Mm-hmm.
On the first day, 9th, 10th night, there was only part of my battalion. In fact, the ones who went towards Bhairab Bazaar was just one company under Delta Company under Captain Surinder Singh, who went there. And north of Bhairab Bazaar, we were in the south, north of Bhairab Bazaar, we had moved in a battalion of the Mufti Bahani. I forget who the commander was, but I think I have the details somewhere. These troops, from our side, when we moved in on the 10th night, 19th Punjab, 19th Battalion of the Punjab Regiment.
Mm-hmm.
So one Indian Infantry Battalion, 6-7 men, same number of Mufti Bahani, kept this entire division in a brigade armed with modern artillery and tanks, bottled in Bhairab Bazaar
Mm-hmm.
for the next 6 or 7 days till the surrender. There's a photograph of Abdul Majid
Mm-hmm.
surrendering his
Pistol.
pistol to General Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm.
That shows an odd thing. You know, he has a smile on his face.
Smile, exactly, sir.
You have noticed that? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Which shows the man was relieved to surrender.
Like bach gaya.
Bach gaya, jaan bach gayi. And yet, a few days earlier, this is on the 8th of December at Brahmanbaria, when my battalion entered Brahmanbaria, we found the bodies of 80 Mufti Bahani people with their hands tied behind their backs and shot.
Okay.
This was reported by the Air Force people. We saw it. Our own pilots reported it, and General Sagat Singh also mentioned it. And worse than that is 6 soldiers of 10 Bihar who had been taken prisoner at Akhaura. We found the dead bodies with their hands tied behind their backs and shot behind their heads. And this is found in the bunker of Abdul Majid's headquarters.
Okay, so he was very much aware.
Of course, he was aware. Not only aware, he was a party to it. And the coward that he is, when his turn came, he smiles and is happy to surrender his weapon.
Well, I mean, fortunately, the Pakistani High Command was like that. That's why, I mean, it swiftens our victory.
Yes. See, the Pakistan Army, which General Sagat has mentioned, my own CEO has mentioned in the audio tapes and everywhere, was too involved in politics and running businesses than soldiering. And their discipline was non-existent. How can an army officially, and I use the word officially, condone rape and molestation?
Right.
When Yahya Khan was posed this question by a thing, by a foreign correspondent, he says, "What do you expect? My men to remain celibate or return every week to West Pakistan to be with their wives? They will find women wherever they can." This was the stated policy. I'm not surprised. But what I'm surprised is but I should not have been. The American troops, whom everybody held up as role models, do you know what they did in the Second World War?
In France and Germany.
I think I send you that tape?
I saw a bit of that, and I have read also.
And I mentioned it.
Especially in France.
In France, within 1 week of the landing, 800 French women were raped
by the GIs.
By the GIs. About 100 or so were brought up for trial. 29 were convicted. Out of the 29, 4 were whites whose sentences were condoned. 25 black soldiers were hanged. Hanged.
Okay.
Is the same racist mentality that prevails in it. During the occupation of Japan and the Korean War, hundreds and thousands of local women were prostituted. It's all on record and written by American authors. During the Vietnam War,
that is way more
in Thailand, 400 Thai girls, most of them underage, were put into camps to service the Americans during the Rest and Recreation League in Thailand. On a lesser scale, they did the same thing, as again on record, both in Afghanistan and in Iraq. So these people have no moral right to speak to us. And something that I'm very proud of, and I've shouted from the rooftops, we had 250,000 Indian troops in Bangladesh. We had been welcomed by the population with open arms. We did not have one case of rape or molestation against our troops. That speaks very highly of the moral conscience and righteous conduct of our soldiers, and our soldiers are a reflection of our general society.
Right, sir.
Coming back to the battle. At Raipura, we had roughly 36 hours of, I would call it, rest.
Okay.
We are waiting for further orders, what to do. In between, on the 10th morning, our divisional commander, the brigade commander, visited us. And it was a much needed rest because for 10 days we had been fighting continuously. We managed to get some purchase some food supplies from local sources. And some of it a little bit came from by helicopters. On the 11th, we started our advance to Narsingdi. Narsingdi is a major town. It's a textile manufacturing center. And now, of course, it's grown to a much bigger place. It was about 30 odd kilometers from Raipur, where we were.
Okay.
We started early. We reached Narsingdi about midday, a little after midday. Met a little bit of resistance while entering the town, but we had a clean walk through till we reached the local electricity power substation.
Narsingdi power station.
When I say power station, it was a substation where the lines are, you have those transformers and lines. It was a small area, covering an area of about an acre or so. By then it had got dark and we were being fired upon us and our advance was being affected. So I was told to clear that out. Now this position was surrounded by a chain link fence and the Pakistanis were occupying concrete, reinforced concrete bunkers. So we couldn't find out exactly, and it's a built up area from where the fire was coming from. We knew it was coming from this general area. With great difficulty, I managed to cut a hole in the wire fencing.
Barbed wire.
No, it was chain link.
Sorry, I mean with barbed wire cutters.
Yes, with barbed wire cutters, but we managed to cut the steel chain and made a hole about 2 feet by 2 feet where people could crawl in. While we were doing this, the Pakistanis threw a grenade towards me and it barely landed 10 feet away. And I was on an embankment. Held my breath. I don't know whether I prayed. I'm sure I must have prayed. Because if it had exploded, we all, at least I and a few other men who were there, we would have got it. Counted. Normally it takes 8 seconds for the thing to fire. Nothing happened for a minute. We didn't breathe. Then we realized that it was a dud. So we had a look at the grenade. Before you throw the grenade, there's a firing pin which you have to pull out, which the trigger mechanism is then put on unsafe. In this case, in his hurry or fear, the Pakistani had forgotten to pull out the firing pin.
Okay.
Allah is great. But I lost 3 men killed, 6 men wounded, including myself, in trying to clear out this position. And there were only about 10 odd, and they were not even regular troops, they were paramilitary rangers. But they were firing from bunkers, and it was dark, we couldn't exactly spot which bunker, which loophole is he firing from. The CO then, after I was hit, he called off the attack. One of the incidents during this attack, when I was putting my men through that barbed wire hole, there was a guardsman, a sepoy. His name was Inam Singh. I had my hand on his shoulder. We were all crawling on our bellies, and I was trying to push him through the bunker, through the hole in the prone position. And suddenly, there was firing going on. I felt his body shudder, and I was splattered with blood. The enemy bullet had got him in the head, gone through his body, and come out from the rear. Now that's one of those incidents which I can never forget. And I don't think I will ever forget to my last breath. The next morning, of course, when visibility was more, we cleared that position without any problems. I think it was Chari Kapni and the Major Marwa. But at Narsingdi, we were lucky. He said Narsingdi is a major town. We managed to requisition. Narsingdi was also a base for the East Pakistan Road Transport Corporation. So we managed to find 30 odd buses in a serviceable condition.
Okay.
Plus a few trucks and a fire engine, 2 fire engines that are fire station. The odd thing is, this is, we're talking 71. In 2008, when I visited Narsingdi again, those 2 fire stations were still there, engines were still there.
Okay.
35 years after the incident. So far, except for the helicopter ride and short rides on General Shamsher Mehta, that time Major Shamsher Mehta's times, we had always been moving on foot. Now we became mobile. By the 11th morning, we were mobile. Dhaka was only 35 kilometers ahead of us. And with a nice road and with no Pakistani troops between us and Dhaka. So on the 11th morning, I was evacuated by helicopters at sometime midday 11th. But I was present when this happened.
And where were you hit, sir? If you could.
In my leg,
Okay.
upper leg, on the right side.
Okay.
Fortunately, not much damage done.
Okay.
Uh, our advance of my battalion started in trucks, in buses, and lots of cycle rickshaws and three-wheeler auto rickshaws.
Okay.
When the brigade commander saw the whole battalion mounted and moving, he stopped our convoy and requested us, please make available 50% of your transport to the rest of the brigade. We did that. And we just managed to overcrowd, instead of 30 people in a bus, we rammed in 60, 70 in a bus, some on the roof, some everywhere. But the advance, because we were motorized, to our next halt is a place called Bulta, which is only 10 kilometers from Dhaka.
Okay.
So by the evening, we reached there in Bulta. And this is on the 11th evening. We reached Bulta, camped for the night there, waiting for the rest of our troops to catch up, the brigade. And the next morning, we started 13th. We started our advance towards Dhaka, which is not just 12 kilometers away, but we selected a place called Demra, where the Ajamdi, Demra is on both the jute mills, and the river in between is called the Satyalakha. Here we were joined by a group of foreign generals.
Okay.
Foremost among them was Sidney Schanberg, who later became the editor of the New York Times. He's written a book which I have, Beyond the Killing Fields, of his experiences in Vietnam and Cambodia. And his biopic has been made. It's called The Killing Fields,
Okay.
which is an Oscar-winning movie. And he himself is a Pulitzer Prize winner. And he's written the best accounts, which I'll read out to you in my next podcast, about the Indian Army. He compares the Indian Army with the Americans. He says, okay, the Americans may be better equipped, but this is something different. And the best thing he says, that never did I see any Indian soldier put a foot wrong in spite of whatever they had seen the Pakistanis do. He writes, they were gentlemen all the way. The second important person there was J. Ulal.
Jeolal.
He was of Indian origin, but he had settled in Germany several years ago, and he was a world famous photographer even then. And the best photographs of the war given to us by him, including the surrender scene and all, they were all taken by him.
Okay.
He joined us, and he sent me his audio video tape of his experiences with us.
Achha.
I'll send them to you. He talks about his first experience before the war, that is during the Muktibani phase, meeting Shafiullah and others, and then when the war started, he talks about that. including the surrender.
Okay.
The third one was again a very famous photographer for the Washington Post or something. He was an Australian called Tony Clifton. No, he
Tony
was a
Clifton.
thing for Newsweek. Tony Clifton, but he was an Australian. And there were a few others who were embedded with us. A couple of Indian person called Bhatia. He was from this UNI, this news agency. The rest I don't remember. There were a dozen odd. Their accounts are very interesting of the final battle of Akhaura, for Dhaka. Now, the best part is that final battle for Agartala, which took place between the 14th and the
The, fi-
16th morning.
the final
But I'll
battle
come
at
first
Dhaka, I guess.
to the 13th.
You said
Beg pardon?
Agartala.
No, I made a mistake. Dhaka,
Dhaka.
final battle. On the 13th, General Sagat had positioned our artillery and medium guns in my battalion's positions. And they were firing on Dhaka cantonment from there.
Okay.
It's about 10 kilometers or so,
Mm-hmm.
not even 10 kilometers less,
Mm-hmm.
6-7 kilometers. There's a photograph taken by Jayalal of these guns being positioned and actually firing on Dhaka. I'll send you that.
Please, sir. Please.
And the person firing it is the CEO of the battalion, then Colonel Behr. He pulled the first trigger lanyard.
The 75-24, I guess.
75-24, but there are medium guns that also coming.
Okay. 5.5 inch.
Yes. Now, here's a very interesting story. Staying in the Dhaka Intercontinental was the world's most famous war correspondent, Claire Hollingworth.
Hmm.
She is the one who first reported in 1939 the start of the Second World War when the Germans moved into Poland.
Mm-hmm.
She had been there in Sikkim, in Sagat Singh, when Sagat Singh defeated the Chinese,
67.
67 at Nathula,
Mm-hmm.
against the Chinese. But she, for some reason, was very anti-Indian and very pro-Pakistani. Whatever the reason is, we don't know. She was a British nationality. And she spent the entire 71 in Bangladesh, East Pakistan. She was very much aware of it, but she toned down all that was there. In her reports, everything is toned down. The only time she sort of writes it when one Christian missionary or priest was killed. That she talks about in detail. Others, but that may be it. She reports of the shelling
Okay.
in she was staying in the Dhaka Intercontinental, and the first shells exploded in Dhaka Intercontinental, causing confusion. And she says that medium guns are firing in her report. But this Battle of Demra, that ferry point, at that time there was no bridge, there was just a ferry. You cross over from the east of the Lakha River, which is the eastern boundary of Dhaka.
Mm-hmm.
And the Demra is on both the sides of the river. It's not very wide, say about 100 meters or little less meters wide. But you couldn't wade across it, you had to do it
On boats.
on boats. And some of us, we had Shamsher Mehta's tanks had come. So some of us could, and they were amphibious, so we could even float across on that. But most of us crossed by boats. There was a short battle on our side of it at the Adamji jute mills. Now the interesting thing about this battle is it was a short, sharp exchange. Sidney Schanberg has reported about this battle in detail.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Bihari Pakistani news correspondent who was there in the Adanji Jutmals of the Pakistanis. He has reported that battle. And J. Olal, the photographer of the Stern magazine, has photographed that action. And then, of course, you have the accounts from our side. But this is perhaps the only battle in which you have reporters from both the sides, news reporters reporting of this battle, somebody photographing the battle, and our own account.
Mm-hmm.
I've written about it. I'll send you the details. The next time we'll talk about it and quote what these gentlemen have said. But the most interesting thing is that Pakistani correspondent, his name was Kamal something. He writes, and this was published in a Pakistani paper. And you know what he writes? He says, you know who saved us that day? Not the Pakistan army. He says it was the Indian army who saved our lives and fed us. Otherwise, we would have been lynched by the locals. In fact, when we talk next time, we'll talk in detail about what actually transpired on the 16th morning just before the surrender.
Okay.
How the local mobs were gunning for the skin of the Pakistanis, firing being exchanged between each other. And these are first-hand, this reportage is again by foreign newspaper correspondents and photographed also by Jeola. So we'll have to do one full podcast on 16 December. That is of 16 December, not on 16 December, but of 16 December. And one podcast for what happened post 16 December till 10th of January when Sheikh Mujibur Rahman arrived and my battalion gave the farewell parade to him on 12th of
March.
March. But this is again a very interesting period. And we'll cover it then. And then the last one, after 12th of March, at Mujib's request, officially all Indian troops had withdrawn from Bangladesh.
Mm-hmm.
But my battalion was sent to Chittagong hill tracts. We were located at a place called Malum Ghat, which is midway between Chittagong and Cox's Bazar on the coast. We spent about 5 months there. Now that is an experience by itself. It's connected with the war, but it's connected with a lot of other things about what is happening in Bangladesh now. Yes.
Okay.
What is connected is how well before the war and all, how certain Western countries were interested in retaining control or influence in that area by having governments or populations and all favorable to them, which led to what you call this term demographic change in the society. The Chittagong hill tracts before 1947 was a Hindu and Buddhist majority area, with 70% Buddhists and Hindus and 30% Muslims only. By 71 war, it had reversed.
Mm-hmm.
And the Western powers had something to do with it. And that's very interesting.
Like what they were planning for a northeast.
Yes, exactly. It's an extension because the funding was coming from there. I'll cover that part when we do that certain part of it. And the most shocking thing we discovered, we mentioned earlier about the Pakistani rapes and women.
Mm-hmm.
We've also I also mentioned briefly about the Americans, misuse of women
Mm-hmm.
in Germany and the Second World War in Vietnam and elsewhere. And what I'm saying now is on record. You can go on the net and see it. I'll give you the links. And it's there in American court records. The Americans based at Malum Ghat, there were some doctors and some missionaries. They were involved in child sexual abuse, underage girls. It is, we caught them, we reported the matter. Eventually, the leader of the gang and some of them, and they were doing it not only to the locals, they were also doing it to the children of other Americans.
Okay.
Sexual abuse of underage girls. And I'll give you the name, look up the thing where you'll get the details. The head of the Americans there was a person called Dr. Don, D-O-N, Ketchum, Ketcham, head of the mission hospital in Malum Ghat. You will get the details of his trial in America. I think about 70 American girls reported. It's like a bit of Epstein, what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
The
Right.
same thing was being, it seems to be ingrained in the brain. We'll cover that in detail.
Perfect, sir.
And it's all on record. But in the meantime, please do Google
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Don Ketchum, Malum Ghat, Malum Ghat.
Okay.
You'll get the details. We tried to cover it up, and eventually, like Epstein, when the thing got too hot, like Epstein was probably killed.
Mm-hmm.
This man also died prematurely. That is the extent of the cover of the American. Today we haven't talked of fighting. Well, and the reason is that after the 9th, after the Liban crossing, except for that small skirmish that we had where I got wounded, and again the skirmish that we had in Demra on the 16th morning, there was no serious fight.